going on, everyone? So this is our cruise check. We're getting close to our cruising altitude of flight level 360 at about 900 feet, and we have a turn here, which I'm going to let the airplane conduct the turn itself. So at about this area here, 100 feet to cruise, I'm going to put our LNAV, VNAV on, and as well as our autopilot. And autopilot will take this airplane all the way until about 1,000 foot from the runway in O'Hare, and then we'll land the plane manually. We flew the plane by hand, all at the 360. It took us about 19 minutes and 24 seconds off of the runway. So again, like I said in the last video, it takes about 20 minutes to get up to cruise, depending on what the cruise altitude is. Our cruise kind of getting out to Munich was it was 370. Again, we achieved it out of O'Hare in about 20 minutes. Okay, so some cruise things that we need to do to button the airplane up for it to fly up for a good amount of time. I'm gonna go ahead and do the fasten the seatbelts. Get the people out of their seats. Chime the cabin. We're going to do our announcement saying that we have leveled off at our cruising altitude.
Lay Shaman from flight deck here. Seatbelt signs off. Gives you an opportunity to move out. Do ask while on your seat though that keep those seatbelts fastened for your safety and those about you. So we get closer, we'll update weather gate information. Enjoy the ride. Thank you.
So even though that that announcement says as we get closer, we'll update on the weather and gate information. Actually, that is very factual. As we get closer to O'Hare, I'm going to start looking for, hey, where are we going to park at and what the weather is looking like. Only because I'd rather do that well before the descent, so I know exactly where we're going and I know exactly what the conditions are going to be. And at that point, we're going to just flip this over to our systems page. We're going to look at our fuel levels. Looks like we have about 141,000 pounds of fuel on board, which was our estimated, so I think we're going to be pretty good. No, our estimated was 144,000. We are just past, we're past Recti, and the flight plan is saying at that position we should have, let's see, at that position we should have 134,000 pounds, so we're about 7 pounds over, about the amount we put on the airplane, so we're doing pretty good. I'm going to switch this to our landing page. I'm going to type in KORD. I'm not going to choose a runway or anything. I'm just going to put this in so I can take a break. I can step onto the flight deck. Say I take a nap. The nap was 8 hours. I come back right at cruise. I don't have to throw that information in. It's already in there. I just have to punch in the rest. Just keeps us one step ahead. And then I'm going to put this on enough where I can see some stuff. Again, the Magknight's not the greatest airplane in the world. It flies, but it's not the greatest. As many know from like other airplanes, the Zebo, etc. You have the map mode, the plan mode, where you can see the flight plan. On the Magknight, you can't do that. So it's very important that you go through the flight plan, the legs, and see if there's any kind of distances that don't look right. If it's like 1,500 miles, yeah, that's probably the wrong waypoint, or probably the wrong, maybe a wrong airway. And we're gonna talk about that in a second. But make sure like the distances match. Maybe like you can check Navigraph and just make sure all these match. Sometimes I check to make sure the coordinates match, just because you could have missed if you miss a number, you're going in a different direction. So, all right, let's look at this discontinuity. Just like with any other airplane, when you have a discontinuity, you just need to fill it. So we're gonna put Flint FNT Foxtrot November Tango in our scratch pad. We're gonna fill that disco, and then we're gonna execute that. And there should be a vector in here somewhere. Yeah, so there's a vector right here. This is if there's ATC, they tell you where to go after BAMB. We're not doing that. Actually, there's a vector and a discontinuity. I can't confirm or deny if there'll be ATC in O'Hare. I can almost guarantee you there won't be ATC in O'Hare when we arrive. But even if I knew there would be ATC in O'Hare, I would get rid of this vector because it's a blank. It's a break in our flight plan. I wish I could show you, but I can't. We're not close to O'Hare. But when it comes to the flight plan, the airplane knows it's going to BAMP, even if that's there and we have this, the airplane knows it's going to BAB, but it doesn't know where it's going after, because you're supposed to put it in, or you're supposed to have a heading to go to as the vector. So to just complete the flight plan, that's why there's no distancer, I'm going to replace that with vulgar. And then we'll just play it by ear based on what the star looks like and traffic and ATC, etc., etc., etc. Okay, but those are the cruise checks I do. Nothing really serious. When this 66,000 pounds of fuel goes down to the center tanks, we'll go and hit these two buttons right here to turn the center tanks off because they're not needed anymore. Other than that, we are cruising over Central Europe, heading to Chicago. Looks like we'll arrive at, let's see, what time are we arriving? We're arriving into Chicago at 7:25, which is about, it's actually 59 minutes early. I think this time is going to get closer to our actual arrival time as we get over the United Kingdom. Those winds are going to pick up to 113 knots, except for, unfortunately for us, it's actually already at 92 knots. Unfortunately for us, it's a headwind, so we're going to lose speed here in a minute. The North Atlantic track might be a little windy as well, so we'll lose speed eventually. That's another reason why I load more fuel on, because of the headwinds and stuff, to compensate for the headwinds. I flew this plane Dulles to Amsterdam one time, and I put the estimated fuel of what the sim brief said the fuel should be on the Magknight 787, and I ended up having to divert to London because I was running out of fuel. So since that point, I always loaded more fuel in the airplane. Other than that, yeah, that concludes this cruise tutorial, this cruise check. The next cruise check we're going to do is going to be in about an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. That's going to be right outside the North Atlantic track. I'm going to show you how to file that clearance, and there's nothing to do in the airplane. It's just filing the clearance, and I'll show you what the clearance looks like. There is not a controller. The controller left. There was a controller, but maybe there'll be a controller when we get closer. All right, that sounds good. This is where the video ends, and it will pick up with me showing you that North Atlantic track file.